And joining us to talk about the MLB Draft, we have Ryan Clary with the Locked On Nationals podcast. The Washington Nationals hold the #2 overall pick in the upcoming MLB Draft. So Ryan's joining us now. Look, Ryan, we've watched LSU baseball all year, right? So all we know is Dylan Crews and Paul Skenes. But from an outside perspective, kind of looking into this LSU team, what's your impression with Skenes and Crews and the talent that they have and how that can translate to the major league level?
Well, when you talk about Paul Skenes and Dylan Crews, I truly do believe this. I think they're the two best players to come into the MLB draft in quite some time. And really, you could even make the comparison for Paul Skenes back when Steven Strasburg was selected to the Washington Nationals in 2010. You could say he's the best pitcher since then. And then with Dylan Crews, I'm higher on him than a lot of other people. And Dylan Crews is a great prospect. But I even think that this guy could be the best hitting prospect since Bryce Harper coming into this draft. And that is just my simple opinion of him from what this guy does. It's really incredible that both these guys were on the same team and they didn't win every single game this year. I truly do believe that this is the best prospect tandem coming into the draft in quite some time, because both these guys really should be #1 overall picks. But luckily, one of them have to go first and one of them has to fall to the Washington Nationals. So we'll just have to see.
So you really hit a couple points there. You talked about the Steven Strasburg kind of comparison, because not many people have seen a pitcher as dominant on the college level since Steven Strasburg. Then, of course, the Bryce Harper kind of comparison with Dylan Crews, especially going there in the outfield. Are National fans kind of reminiscing a little bit at the idea that one of those guys, in comparison to a Bryce Harper or Steven Strasburg, could be the next guy on their team?
Definitely when it comes to Paul Skenes, just because of the comparisons to Steven Strasburg there. People talk about the dominant last year at San Diego State and as well as Paul Skenes from this year at LSU. And listen, when you talk about the stuff, Paul Skenes is hitting 99 miles per hour. There's only a handful of pitchers who have really done that at the top of the draft coming out of college, and Steven Strasburg probably headlines that name. So I think there's a lot of people excited about the prospect of Paul Skenes and really what he can do down the line for the Nationals if they were to take him. But with that said, Steven Strasburg also had to go through a lot of different hurdles when it came to injuries and all the growing pains from jumping from college ball all the way to the majors. But I think Paul Skenes could be even more advanced considering he was going up against the SEC. You guys know about the SEC. It's the best prospect team that you could ever ask for when it comes to all these different draft guys. So I think Paul Skenes is going to be a little bit more prepared when it comes to it this season. So I think Nationals fans, if he were to fall with us, they're going to be excited, and they should be. This guy's legit.
Now, this could be a little bit of a smokescreen here. Perfect Game put out a mock draft today that had the Pirates taking Max Clark, the outfielder out of high school, instead of Crews or Skenes. Let's say the hypothetical game here. Say the Nationals are sitting there on draft night, and for some reason the Pirates go with Clark instead of Crews or Skenes, and the Nationals are sitting there at 2 with both of those guys available. Play the GM role here a little bit. Who are you taking?
Well, if it was up to me, I'd be taking Dylan Crews no matter what, just because of the simple impact that this guy could have. When I look at this guy, when I look at Dylan Crews, I see a 5-tool player. I see someone who can hit for more power than what people expected. Someone who's really fast and can steal 20 bags. We obviously know the hit tool batting, 425 this season with LSU. This guy's going to hit above 300 in the major league. It's whether his power will translate into the big leagues. And I look at him and I see what he does, and I do believe that his power will get here. I do believe it's going to even take a bigger step up as he continues to improve and get all these different tools, because the Nationals have done one thing really well over the years. It's develop outfield talent and take those outfielders and develop the power tool. And they have done that really damn well over the years so far with Mike Rizzo as the GM, who made that run in 2019. He's still here.
So say the Pirates do wind up going with Crews #1 overall, and so the Nationals are sitting there with Skenes on the board. Is that the no-brainer pick that the Nationals do go with Skenes ultimately at the 2 spot?
Absolutely. Paul Skenes there. To me, it's either LSU guy or the LSU guy. Paul Skenes, if he's sitting there, then the Nationals have got to take him just because of what people are touting him to be, which is a generational prospect. And a lot of people would say, well, you look at the analytics and they say don't take pitchers high in round 1. That is true for a fact. I am into analytics. But when you look at Paul Skenes, throw out all the math there and so out whatever equation you want there. Paul Skenes is going to beat those metrics. And I think this guy is a legit Cy Young contender down the road. Now, will he click right away? Will it hit for him immediately? Who knows, really? But when I look at this guy, I look at a dominant starting pitcher who's going to help your team and help your franchise propel them through this rebuild. And we all know pitching wins championships in baseball. Paul Skenes will be at the front of the rotation for years to come. So, yes, it'd be a no-brainer for me to have Paul Skenes there if he is there at number 2 overall and Dylan Cruz isn't.
I think the headlines are already written, so Paul Skenes is being labeled here as the America's ace. It's only fitting that he kind of goes to the nation's capital if that does become the move on draft night. But if Skenes is the move come the number 2 draft pick, everyone said that Skenes is a major league player pitching in college right now. Given the Nationals record and the Nationals season so far and kind of where it's going, how quickly do you think it is that Skenes does make it to the majors?
I would expect Paul Skenes to be in the major leagues by September of 2024, and I really do think that. And I think if this Nationals team were to even be better, which they should be going into 2024, then Paul Skenes could be in the big leagues as soon as next June. I think this is someone that you don't really need to get him all these minor league innings. I think the guy's already here. He's already developed. He's already proven that he's one of those guys who's going to be a quick riser in the major leagues. So I think if Paul Skenes were to be drafted here, you would absolutely see him at some point next season and maybe even some point next summer early on, maybe in the mid-June to early July kind of portion of that season. But with the way that things are going now with this rebuild, I think the easy expectation were to be, say, this guy will start in September of 2024. He'll make his debut, and then going into 2025, he'll be your opening day starter. Simple as that.
I asked you a hypothetical earlier. I have another one for you. We didn't see it this past year at LSU. Coach Jay Johnson said he wasn't going to allow it, even though Paul Skenes really wanted it. We saw Paul Skenes be a two-way player at Air Force. He can hit and he can pitch with a lot of talent on either side. If you're the coach of the Nationals and he does go to the Nationals, is there any chance he gets the Shohei Ohtani treatment?
Oh, man. I mean, this is a really tough question. And honestly, I was kind of kicking around earlier today that Paul Skenes did allude to the fact that he would like to give it a try. And if you look at his numbers at Air Force over the last few seasons, the guy's a legit hitter. Like, I think, and if you're talking about prospect grades and what he would get, I mean, this guy would probably be an above average power guy already, just coming out and even missing a year out of that batter's box. So I think Paul Skenes, if he wanted to give it a try, I'm sure he could do that. You could use it as a bargaining chip for MLB teams saying, hey, I want X amount of money because I want to be given a shot to get both things. I want to be the next Shohei Ohtani. And if he feels that way, then he should, because the numbers don't lie. The guy does hit, and he's done it very well. So we'll just have to see if he actually wants to do that, A, and B, if teams are willing to give him that opportunity. Because as we know, there's really only one Shohei Ohtani out there, but there are some options and there are some abilities of Paul Skenes that could kind of have him reach that territory. I truly do think he's that dominant of a player, and he could get it done. I love the makeup coming from Air Force. The guy's a hard worker, worked his butt off at LSU. So I think if he wanted to do it and he puts his mind to it, I think he absolutely could. I'd be all for it.
Every storyline is just there for him to end up at the nation's capital. It only makes sense for him to end up in D.C. But regardless, one of the LSU guys likely to end up on the Nationals come Sunday. Before I let you go, though, I want you to make your pitch basically to Cruz or Skenes if they do get drafted by the Nationals. Tell me about the organization a little bit, what makes that organization special, and what they are coming into there in Washington.
Well, I'm looking at Mr. Cruz here. My pitch is, let's talk about it. Let's talk about these big-time prospects that have come through the Nationals organization, and especially outfielding prospects. Some guy named Bryce Harper, some guy named Juan Soto. We got some guy named James Wood down in the minor leagues right now who's already a top 5 prospect in baseball. This Nationals team, and under Mike Rizzo, who is still the current president of baseball operations, he's done one thing, and he's done one thing really well. That is develop outfield prospects, and he has done so well. And even for a local guy like Lane Thomas, you guys may not know about him even then, but if you look at his numbers, this guy should have been an all-star this year. This organization, they develop outfielders, and they don't miss when it comes to top 10 picks. You've seen it with Bryce Harper. He was the no-brainer guy. Well, I think Dylan Cruz is that guy. And really, Dylan Cruz, D.C., Washington, D.C., there's a lot of marketing opportunities there for some side money here that Dylan Cruz can make. So, Dylan, come to Washington, D.C. We'll like you. We'll love you. We've developed all the stars here. You don't want to miss out.
Ryan, I tell you what, you got me fired up. I want to go play for DC now. I can't even play, but you got me fired up. I want to go play for the Nationals now after that one, man.
There we go.
Well, look, I appreciate you, man. Great insight on the Nationals. And look, come Sunday, one of those two guys likely to be a Washington National. The only question really is, who will it be? But we appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.